What's up, gamers? Welcome to Gamer Rant. My name is Kevin. Today on Gamer Rant, we are going to be begging the question whether or not a video game company that purposely releases a product that is incomplete, such as Fallout 76, No Man's Sky, Anthem, and then, of course, decides to fix it later, if it is the equivalent to the automobile industry releasing a vehicle and finding out there is a part in it that is faulty, let's say the airbag, and they got to do a recall on that airbag. That's right. Someone literally made the analogy that Fallout 76 Wastelanders is the equivalent to a recall in an automobile vehicle. Or even the food industry. You know, some food company releases some kind of food that, might make people sick. So we got to recall that cereal. We have to recall those vegetables, the lettuce, whatever it is. That is the equivalent to Anthem trying to fix itself. And it's okay. It's okay.
Why isn't it in the fucking game without a pre-order? You blind? Stupid fucking fanboyism.
Microtransactions and
DRM. Downloadable content.
I am going to basically read the usernames only once as they appear. After that, I'm just going to stop, and you're going to just have to look at the screen to figure out what I'm reading and who is saying what, because I'm not going to repeat usernames every time, because that would just kind of make the video slightly more longer. So I came across this tweet. PC Gamer, Fallout 76 finally feels like a Fallout game. Will, imagine people actually giving support to this monumental kick in the balls that Bethesda gave. Earl, imagine being worried about what people want to support. Gamer Rant, imagine not worrying about sending the message, it's okay as long as you fix it after the fact. If it gets fixed, yes, I'm content. This happens in every industry, not just gaming. However, the gaming community is an absolute cancer, and if things aren't exactly how they want it, they're going to unleash every level of hell. It's both sad, and I also somehow respect it. Oh, it happens in every industry. So I'm like, what novels were released unfinished and had to be updated for free? Or perhaps what comic books? You're full of shit. Food industry, automotive industry, shipping industry, medical industry, retail industry, etc. all make mistakes with the product/services they offer and have times they need to correct their initial mistake. So you're saying a recall on a car is the same as a developer who creates art and releases that video game before it's finished is okay because recalling a faulty part is equivalent to developers releasing updates to fix something they released half-ass on purpose are one and the same. In theory, yes. I see you're trying to get super technical to prove a point, which won't work, but the point is plenty of companies make mistakes or release broken products and thus need to improve them after releasing. It's a fact of life. Now, sad, but it is. Things are cheap/rust. Not technical, just pointing out you are incorrect. Video games is an art, and art should be complete by the time it gets to you. I literally used other art forms to show your flawed logic, especially since video games outside MMOs only started getting fixed during the PS3 and Xbox 360 generation. Because books and comics aren't going to release with problems unless it's typos, laughing my ass off. There is nothing technical about them or parts that will break. So I'm not understanding your comparison. Yet you again completely ignore the examples I gave for the video games, which did not get updates minus MMOs until the PS3 and 360 generation. That's generations of video games not needing to be updated. Internet wasn't at the place it is now to be pushing patches through games where massively more simplistic than they are now. I'll agree games in past do seem to have released in more stable forms, but looking back, I don't know if they were actually or if we just didn't really know any better. Dude, I literally said except MMOs, which have been getting updates since 1991, so you're full of shit. MMO were really the online-based games that existed until the 360 PS3 days when internet gaming became mainstream and truly possible. It existed in PS2 and Xbox, but was pretty damn rare. Again, not exactly comparable. So if you somehow missed the whole point I was trying to get across to this individual during this discussion, this debate, this argument, because some people would call it that, you know, because when I look at his responses, he's completely missing the point. Does anyone realize why I brought up books and comic books? Because I'm well aware that the only fucking thing you're going to find wrong in most novels is maybe a typo. And usually if they do fix it, they're just going to refix it when they reprint the book 1 or 2 years later. Same concept with a comic book. And with a comic book, it might be even more rarer to get a republishing than an actual book itself. But that wasn't the point. The point is that those two are art forms, just like video games. And you don't see publishing companies for comic books or for novels rushing the stuff just to get it out on store shelves and then deciding 2-3 months later, well, here's a new copy of the book. It's cheaper, but it's now complete. I mean, he wants to sit here and say that, you know, video games is also more technical than writing a book or writing a comic book, which he's full of shit. Every art form is technical in its own way. It has its pros and cons on how it tells the story, how the story is delivered, and even mistakes that can be made within that art form. Video games are not more technical than a novel. It's not more technical than a movie or a film. You see, the whole point is these are art forms. They should be treated like art forms. You see, one of the differences between Mortal Kombat 11, for example, and let's say Mortal Kombat Armageddon. You want to know what's going to happen in 100 years? People will be able to put Mortal Kombat Armageddon in a PS2 and they'll be able to play it 100% complete. Can we say the same thing for Mortal Kombat 11? Because we all know, what is it? Yeah, it has a few day one updates and patches. It's gotten a few patches over its existence. And to my knowledge, they still have not patched the required online. You see, I'm a creator. I mean, I have a fucking bachelor's degree in creative writing, ladies and gentlemen. Which spans not just books, comic books, but also films, television, and video games. I had to take a specific course for that too. And as a creator, I find this insulting where I see the video game industry going. And I also find it disgustingly insulting when I see somebody who wants to try to defend clearly a bad practice that should not be a part of any art form. Because I don't know about you, Ford or Chevy or GMC releasing a vehicle that has a recall is nowhere near the same fucking realm as a company purposely releasing a video game incomplete and broken and missing half the shit they said was going to be in it, such as Anthem and Fallout 76. That is nowhere near the equivalent of Ford making a mistake and releasing a vehicle that has a faulty part in it. It is nowhere near the equivalent of the food industry, like Kraft, releasing food that has to be recalled because, well, shit's gonna go bad if people consume it. That is nowhere near the equivalent. Time and time again, my point is that this is art, and no other art form requires updates. You want to sit here, you want to talk about how, you know, video games are more technical, especially in this modern generation, to which I kind of find it also funny that the individual mentioned, you know, games are more technical. And, you know, yeah, we had MMOs in the PS2 era. Do I really have to do this right now? This has got to clearly tell you how much of an amateur he is as a person, as a gamer, because When was the PlayStation 2 released? Because I can tell you right now, it sure the fuck wasn't in 1991, which is ironically the first MMO that was released in 1991. I mean, was it as technical as the MMOs today? No, it was a 2D game. But we were also dealing with, what was that? That's right, dial-up internet. So for its time, and this is something everyone always fucking forgets, for its time, it was mind-blowing. But instead, we're just going to make excuses because, well, games are more technical now. And that's such a piss-poor excuse. Not just from gamers who want to defend these poor practices, but we've even seen developers use these excuses. The only difference between how games are produced then and now is one is complete, one is incomplete. Because in this modern age, it's more important to get it on the store shelves instead of, hey, we're not done with this. We still have some massive issues. We need to postpone the release date. Again, the only true difference between how games were developed is one was complete. And you know, this is true. You can actually Google, because there are games in the past, you know, PlayStation 2 and, you know, be past that are considered to be broken. There's certain games that have missions or quests that are completely broken. But the amount of games in the past that are broken wouldn't even hit the double digits in a 0.0% fucking ratio. But yet, how many games in this modern age require day one updates? How many games like Anthem and Fallout 76 are released and require far more than just a simple day one update? You want to sit here and you want to talk about how these updates are the equivalent of Ford releasing a faulty part in a car, which ironically is what is done by mistake. It's not like Kraft Foods is purposely putting shit in their food just so they can waste money to recall it. That makes no fucking sense. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video in some fashion or form. And remember, gamers, if you're not voicing your thoughts and concerns about the bullshit in gaming, you just might be a part of the motherfucking problem.